Welcome to Agape Learning Tools Podcast. This is episode 8, and I'm your host, Coach McKnight. Hi, everyone. Today, our topic on Agape Podcast is about dealing with 21st century student behaviors. We all have seen so many different behaviors, and all of them are not bad. Some of them are good, and some of them we just probably need to redefine. But let's think about this. What is and what does well-behaved in the 21st century look like? Many times as educators, we need to elevate our thinking about what 21st century behavior looks like. Now, I'm not talking about except, a child just running wild, screaming, hollering, doing whatever they want to do, saying things that are inappropriate, speaking to their teachers any kind of way. I'm not talking about that kind of behavior, but I'm talking about what does a well-behaved classroom look like? So, for example, does well-behaved look like sitting in straight lines? Everybody's quiet. They're only speaking when they're told to talk, when they're raised their hand. Everything is proper. Everything is done in order. This table go first. This table, you talk next. You talk next. Is that what well-behaved is like in the 21st century? Well, let's think about this. Have you seen a classroom lately where students may be sitting on the floor? Not necessarily because the classroom is overcrowded, but they're sitting on the floor because that's their comfort place. They like to write in this corner. They may like to go sit in a space by themselves. They may like to go sit in a space with other students. And this is how they like to write, how they like to collaborate. Or let's say that they are excitedly talking about a project that they're all working on together. They're cutting each other off. They're so excited about what they're learning. They don't even really realize that they're learning, but they're talking to each other. They're saying how we're going to do our project. Oh, yeah, this is going to be awesome, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And they're talking and they're cutting each other off and they're getting excited and they might be getting a little bit loud. Is that what a 21st century classroom looks like? Sometimes, yes, that is exactly what a 21st century classroom should look like. When productive learning is taking place, students will be excited. I want us to all think about as adults. Think about when you are working collaboratively with another group of adults, or even when you're just talking with your friends. I know when I'm talking to my girlfriends and we're all having like great ideas and they're just flowing. Oh my goodness, we're cutting each other off. We constantly keep saying, I'm sorry I cut you off, but I'm sorry I cut you off, but because you don't want to lose the thought. That is exactly how it is with our students. When they're in class and they are working collaboratively together and they're actually excited about what they're learning or what they're going to be producing, that is how it will sound. It won't sound perfect. It won't be perfectly quiet. It will not be like how it has been in the past 20, 30, 40 years. So one of the things is that students, when they are like-minded and they're thinking alike, they flow in thought, just like we do as adults. We may get ecstatic when our ideas come together, when our ideas get to flowing and the juices get to flowing. You just start getting so excited about it until you like literally have to take a breath and like, oh my goodness, that was such a good session. I mean, it's like a thinking session. That's what you really, really want to encourage with your students. So one of the things that we have to teach our students, well, one thing first, as educators, we have to change what we believe that our students are capable of. I believe that a lot of times we don't think our students are capable of working together collaboratively without getting loud, without getting off track. And they may do that in the beginning stages of teaching them this way of learning. But you have to accept that, hey, it's going to take some time to develop this type of environment, but after so long, give yourself a goal date of after so long, you should start seeing this type of collaborative talking in your class. You should start seeing this in your class. And so, as educators, we want to, number one, change what we believe students are capable of, but we also want to change how we respond to students just being themselves. It gets to the point where you're like, oh, I know, that's just Tom. That's just Michael. That's just how he is. And you may have to say, okay, Michael, kind of tone it down a little bit. You're a little bit louder than everyone in the whole class and everything. But, yeah, good ideas. Keep flowing, keep going. Encourage students to flow in thought, even if it doesn't make sense at that moment. It may make sense later on in their project or in what they're working on together. Also, work with your students, co-create expectations with your students. I am a big proponent of co-creating with our students, co-teaching with our students, co-planning with our students, because like I said before, our students, we need to change what we believe that they are capable of. They have watched enough teachers to pretty much almost know how to do a lesson plan with you. So therefore, use those talents, use those gifts that students have. We never know who the next future teachers are. We may be developing them right in our classroom because a lot of them are watching us and we are modeling every day what a teacher looks like. So, for example, when you're co-creating expectations, you may say to your students, so what do we need from each other so that we can function in a group? So if we're going to be in a group together, what do we need so that we can function? Do we need quiet? Do we need rules where we don't overtalk each other for a moment so that we can get an understanding? Do we need a 5 minute, just everybody blurt out, just start talking about what it is that you think is best for the project? Do we need writing time? Do we need, headspace? Whatever it is that you feel that you need in that group, let your students express that. And then as the teacher, you are listening. You become the student as they start to share. And then you write down all of these ideas that the students say. And then you start to question them. Okay, so what does that look like? What does that sound like? Okay, what should this part of the group be doing while this part of the group is doing that? And this is how students can learn how to work collaboratively. Also, you must trust the process and be patient. It's going to take time for students to get how to work collaboratively, how to respect one another's ideas. It's going to take time. And so, like I said, set yourself some goal dates. Maybe after the first month, you set a goal and you say, hey, after the first month, we should be able to have somebody that's a recorder that's recording all these great ideas that's flowing. And then you'll change up that recorder each week and just process that. See how well the students do with that. Then also over time, you'll learn to trust your students' ideas, okay, and their voices. So students' voices are very important. When students know that their voices are being heard, they're least likely to get distracted and get off into other things, especially if their peers are listening. And you have to teach them what, attentive listening looks like. You have to teach them how it looks, that your eyes are kind of on them. You're looking at them, you're listening to them. You're not talking to the other people in the group at that time, but you're giving them your 100% attention. And you may be taking notes. You might be writing something down. If you need to pause or interrupt, you start to teach them how to just, maybe do a hand signal and say, hey, I got to get this idea off. And then they just pause and that person goes ahead and speaks. All of that is about teaching and training our students, so that they know how to function in real world collaborative sessions. Also, you may want to, students should feel cared for in their conversations that they're having with their peers. They should feel cared for by you because their ideas are treated like they matter. So they want their ideas to be treated like they matter from you as well as from their peers. So you have to teach students how to have empathy for one another, how to care about one another, how to actually appreciate each other's ideas. So that's another thing that we need to do. Also, students should feel cared for, number one, also because their ideas impact the learning environment. So number one, they should feel cared for because their ideas are treated like they matter and because their ideas impact the learning environment. Now, you know how we feel when we impact something. We feel great when we know that we have made a change in somebody's life. We've done something, exciting. We've created something. We've, shared something that was significant. The same thing with students. Students should feel like their ideas matter, like they have done something significant. They have made an impact on their group. They've made an impact on their school, whatever their project is that they're working on. So according to Melissa Hahn, if we want our students to be 21st century learners who contribute to a global society, to be able to think critically and work collaboratively and be adept problem solvers, then we must not only redefine our standards of what and how we teach, but we must collaboratively redefine the way that we teach students how to be well-behaved. So what we thought well-behaved looked like back in the day and years ago, that is not necessarily what well-behaved looked like. Now, it's probably a mixture of both, but it's not about the teacher dominating the classroom or dominating the lesson. If we truly want to have a student-centered learning environment, we are going to begin to co-create with those students our lessons, co-create our groups, co-create our expectations in the classroom. We are going to change how we respond to students just being themselves. Sometimes we need to appreciate just how they are. And sometimes we need to loosen up, be ourselves in front of the children. Don't feel like you have to become someone that you're not in front of your students. Be your natural self, and then your students will feel comfortable with being their natural selves. And the areas that we have, some things that we have, some things that they have may need to be changed. And that's okay. Handle it gently, handle it delicately. Let them know that it doesn't work for our entire classroom environment. And, give them suggestions of ways that they can still be themselves, but ways that they can change that behavior if it's not working for the group as a whole. Also, we want to make sure that as we're teaching community, that we change what we believe students are capable of. Teachers, I can't say this enough, that I need you to change how you think about our students. Stop saying what they can't do all the time. They don't even know. Okay, we know this. We know that students are behind because of the pandemic. We know that a large majority of them struggle in reading, struggle in math concepts, but what are they good at? What can they do? Today kids are so capable of so many things. They're brilliant in other areas. So bring that brilliancy, that talent, that gift into the learning environment. Allow them to do projects together and showcase what they can do. Even when you're teaching them the different concepts that they struggle with learning, some kind of way, try to bring in what they are good at, what they are comfortable with, what they're confident in, and try to speak positive words over your students. It'll make a world of difference. So this has been another episode of Agape Learning Tools podcast. I would like to invite you to listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Podcasts. Until next time, educators, see you next time. Bye-bye.